of food safety. Yes, especially around the holidays. Now, December is Worldwide Food Safety Month, and the focus is on keeping food that is prepared, particularly in the service industry, safe. It also is a bit of a reminder that we need to ensure that even in our own homes, that whatever we eat actually is risk-free. And here in Nigeria, it's a constant challenge. Now, from the market or from the farmers through the whole process of transportation via the supply chain to the markets, to the stores, and then to the end user, the final consumer who takes those products home. Everyone certainly has a role to play when it comes to food safety. And we have a special guest that is joining us on the show this morning. Our special guest is a public health nutritionist. Yes, a public health nutritionist, Adeola Akanbi, and she's joining us on the show this morning. And if you'd want to send a question across or a comment, I'll let you know how you can do that shortly. The WhatsApp number is 0809 444 0981. And you can also tweet at smooth981. Phone lines open, so you can give us a ring as well. 01448991. So I'm going to start off with this. As a public health nutritionist, Adeola, how do you view the overall status of food safety in Nigeria? You're muted, please.
Okay. All right, thank you. So for Nigeria, food safety is actually very poor. We know how the urban areas are. For Lagos, for instance, I was talking to someone of recent concerning a very popular food service providing brand. And he told me that I went to eat in that particular place. That's actually my younger brother. And I told him I don't eat there anymore. Like, I've not eaten there in the past 5 years. Because 2 consecutive occasions I ate there, I had food poisoning. And when I spoke to somebody about it, it was not just myself. You know, if you be like, okay, probably my system didn't agree what I ate. But it was myself and my husband. And 2 different occasions it happened. So I look at it like, you know, Nigeria is a country that we should do things better. We could do things better. But presently, and you know how, okay, also because of the way the economy is, things are quite expensive. So people settle for lesser quality than ever. Before you had to be, already, you know that tomatoes are already growing the white things. We shouldn't prepare food with them, right? On a normal day, but we do that. Now imagine how things are presently. Imagine how people are going to be cutting corners. And that's a very popular food brand that happened with. Not to talk of the roadside people, the people that are carrying things on their head and all that. Yet, there's no proper implementation of policy to see that our people are being kept and prevented for these things. So I tell the general public as often as possible that for now, you have to be very careful. Already, we know our hospitals, our doctors are limited. It's actually, there is a very, very sad situation. And if as much as possible, just eat in your home for now. That's what I'm going to say. If you're going to go to the very high-end one, where they do the right thing, it's quite expensive. And who wants to spend money such as that? So it's a very, very deplorable state.
But you said the agenda, and this would lead me to the question of food poisoning. So since you mentioned it, most often than not, persons don't get the picture of what it means when I had food poisoning. It looks like it's usually one Nollywood kind of sprinkling sort of imagery that comes. Since you're the expert,
sorry, I didn't hear. I didn't
get when people hear this idea of the notion of food poisoning, there's always one wicked mother-in-law and wife sprinkling all over the food. So help us understand what really triggers food poisoning.
The germ that is most responsible for food poisoning is usually bacteria. So there's a particular temperature your food must be kept at, and it's particular temperature most food must be cooked to. Do you understand? Like if you're making, especially when it comes to meat and meat products, seafood, your poultry, that's chicken, turkey, it must be well cooked. The one that you are saying chicken that is not so well done, I don't advise most people to eat it. Our there's this barbecue chicken that they do on the streets, right?
The pinkish chicken suya.
I told somebody that I used to be someone that loves street food, right? Because growing up, my mom was we eat at home. So you can imagine I used to feel deprived that I like to eat street food. I don't know what happened. Immediately after COVID, I just could not abide street food anymore. I just could not, because you don't know where the person prepared it. You don't know how it's been prepared. Contrary to popular opinion, when they say that if your food should fall on the floor, that it's not as if the germs get attacked immediately. Sorry, bacteria get attacked immediately. And if it happens to get to the nasty ones, it actually kills. So where your food is being prepared should not be overemphasized. The environment is very important. How it's being prepared, the water that is being used to prepare, how it is being stored after being prepared. Because the food must be kept like, there's a very, very delicate temperature. If your food is lower than 4 degrees centigrade, I'm sorry, it's lower than 4, it's okay to be kept like that. But if it's above that and it's not over 60 degrees centigrade, that food, you should rewarm it or something. You should rewarm it or something. Yes, please.
Okay, so while you were speaking, you spoke about tomatoes, the tomatoes that have grown those spores, which are probably microbes just doing what they usually do. Now, culturally, people believe that those are the form of tomatoes and peppers that are used in the food services industry, because according to them, it actually makes the food sweeter. So we see people, yes, buy those
Roadside.
Well, yes, those forms of tomatoes and peppers, because they say it gives a distinct flavor. How does culture and our belief really affects the safety and standards of the food that we eat?
Okay, so personally, because from where I am from, we try to ensure that our food is very safe. So I won't say it's culturally. I just think that we settle a lot. We try to console ourselves. When we have limited funds, like we say, oh, that's the sweetest one, let us eat it like that. I don't, as because looking at, if you look at, I'm from the Yoruba tribe, right? I know that we pride a lot on cleanliness naturally, and for the Igbo people, at least I've been with a lot with the Igbo people as well. Like clean food, you have to cut off the parts that are not good out of your food and use the part that is good for your food. I just think it's a trend that started as a result of like people consoling themselves because of limited resources. That's what I personally think. But when it comes to maybe over frying food, that's not, of course, that's not food safety. We can say that, oh yes, our food preparation method may be faulty. But a lot of what people say, this is the sweetest one, they're just consoling they are just consoling themselves.
Okay, you spoke about, if a food product is not so great, you cut out the area that looks dodgy and you leave the other. Is that absolutely safe, or should you just discard of it all if there is a bomb somewhere?
It's actually safe. It's actually safe. It just depends on, you need to be very careful to actually get the part that is actually bad. Some people scavenge and maybe take the part that is not so obvious that is already getting rotten, and they keep it. Do you understand? But because already in food industry already, as in proper food manufacturing, they remove bad parts as well. We remove bad parts to do the processing, then we warm the food. So all those things, like the cooking of the food, the storage of the food, you can never emphasize on it. That's what keeps your food for the longest period of time. That's how if you make food with a rotten product, that your food will get rotten faster, compared to when you make when you use the best ingredients from the beginning, and then the handling of the food. That's what affects most people's fried rice. I know somebody that says that my fried rice does not because vegetables get rotten easily, and so they invite microbes more than the other food products. So if, for instance, you ensure that all the vegetables you use are very good, the handling process is not that as you're cooking it, your hand is touching into it. You're always dipping your hand into it, because of course, our hands carries a lot of microbes that we only get to see when we use microscope. So I think that personally, on the average, if we use good raw materials, clean food raw materials, your food should keep and you should be safe.
This takes us to, from your submission so far, cooked food as well as raw foods now. They should have separate means of handling them. We'd like you to begin to tell us how, for example, on cooked food, let's say the tomato and the other potatoes and all yam and all that, we see them also, like when they get rotten, we have to cut up offending parts. So let's go through that on how the proper storage for these foods.
Proper storage. Okay, so for most of those foods, for instance, for the tubers, for instance, that's the potatoes, the yam, what they need is a well-aerated place, so to say, as in where there's very good here. You don't store on the ground because they can attract moisture from the floor. That's majorly why they always say don't keep on bare grounds. And if they're going to keep onions on bare ground, for instance, they will sprinkle some things on the floor first, so that will prevent the item from taking moisture from the floor. So what happens is that bacteria majorly, they thrive, especially the ones they thrive mostly where there's moisture. And that's why you not see anybody saying that our rice is having bacteria, because it's dried, very dried. And what happens with rice is maybe because weevils have entered before. That's what happens with rice weevils and with the beans. So those ones, we are not actually too concerned about it. Our major concern should always be how we store our meat and poultry and seafood and the juices that come from them. Those I was talking to someone which they just kept when you want to store your meat on there and just kept on the counter. We shouldn't be doing that. Keep it in the fridge.
Guilty as charged, Omas. Omas is guilty. I can see. Had a look on his face like, wow.
Anytime you want to store your food, just put it in the refrigerator. Let it thaw in the refrigerator. Keeping it on the counter is inviting the microbe, say, I am available. Come take me. I am here for you. Do you understand? And then when you're storing your poultry, whatever meat and meat product, the poultry inside the freezer, ensure that it's in the compartment, maybe in a bowl that is not going to contaminate other things, because the juice is actually contaminate. That as a meat, poultry, seafood are one of the best ways that you can contact food poisoning easily. And the juices and then your counters, wash your counters well. Don't just wipe with water where you just cut meat or cut chicken. Use soap. If you can use warm water, use warm water. Get vinegar. Use it to clean your counter, your tabletops, to ensure that as much as possible you help yourself, and wash your hands a lot as well. So it's not even the yam and all that is the meat and meat product, and your vegetables. Vegetables they attract microbes too, because it's not just humans that need nutrients. Are we the only ones that need nutrients? They need nutrients as well. So they will go for the ones that have the best nutrients too. Like cabbage. I remember when I was in school, when we were doing about cabbage, we used to say, there's something that we used to say that on every per square inch, there's a number of microbes that can survive, that can live on a particular vegetable. Cabbage was one of the vegetables that had the highest. That's why with salad, people should be very careful. Like, don't even joke with your salad. I see a lot of people that don't take salad a lot. So with that, I think those are the things to be very, very careful of. So that's it. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Adeola, for that. You're listening to Lagos Talks on Smooth 98.1. And on the other side, we'll talk about public food safety. If you have to eat outside, what you can do. And of course, the role of regulators and the government. Stay with us. Really? Cabbage? And I thought cabbage was something that had such a long shelf life that it looks so boring. You don't think microbes want it.
On its surface, a lot of microbes can thrive on it. Like, I think if the others were like, I can't remember the particular figure, but I remember, when something sticks in your head, I'm thinking about when I was in 300 level, about should be about 15 years ago. And I remember that if others had like maybe 10 per millions or things like that, like 500 per million kind of thing, it was that high. Like cabbage, it can harbor microorganisms very easily.
Wow.
So you should be very careful, please.
It's so weird because they just look that way. They can stay in the fridge forever. It's easy to dismiss it as one of those things that oh my days. Oh, how have you still been alive till this time? Like, that's experience.
The thing is that because that's like the way you train a child. That's why
I'm in trouble right now.
No, if you say a child that grew up in the slums, they strive a lot because their body immune system had grown to withstand it. But if you take people that have not been like that for a long time and then you just eat a meal there, your life will never be because we have not grown immunity to that level.
Wow. Even when you shop, there's an order that you place your food in your shopping trolley as well. You can't put like meat and stuff at the top.
You should always be below, or get a plastic bag, put it inside and put it at the lowest before you store that, because of the juice from there. Actually, poultry.
Yeah,
because we don't see the water, we don't know what it causes.
You're not streaming.
No.
Okay, later. I'll send me a message. I get it now.
Lagos Talks 981. It's still Lagos Talks 981 and Zibby and Oma still here. We're talking with public health nutritionist Adeola Akanbi on all of the issues relating to food, as this month is dedicated to safety, food safety, and then we can extend it beyond. And so before we went on the break, we're looking cabbage that looks so harmless that the coleslaw seeming complete without it harbors most of the microbes that can lead to some very damaging situations. But thank you for that info once again. Now let's get into some food and some meats around it. It is said that, like fish, dried smoked fish, they say sometimes that it is that tendency to have that flavor of a little going towards the edge, being spoiled, but not totally spoiled. But then you miss it in some food. You want to have that gives the taste. So how safe has this practice been, where you can, even if the fish, you see maggots coming out of it, you can just pour hot water on it and then take it out, and then you can still go ahead and make food with it?
I think that because we don't, you don't get the repercussion of what you do sometimes immediately. We tend to think that we can get away with it, but all those things have a way of accumulating. It's important that we learn to take care of ourselves. It's just this one life. I understand that you don't want your beloved fish that you got to go like that. We know already that our power situation in Nigeria is quite poor. Buy those that you cannot store for a longer period of time in limited quantities. And when you see maggot, please just let it go as much as possible. As I'm talking, because I know there was a time I bought a fish, dried fish. It wasn't the smoked one, it's the dried one, those very dried ones in bulk. And by the time I brought one out, when you dissolve it in hot water, okay, the way I clean my fish, I dissolve in hot water, pour lots of salt inside, and then I saw that the whole thing just scattered inside immediately. And then maggots started flowing everywhere from within. Okay, so I was like, bring out the remaining. So when the girl that stays with me brought out the remaining, I was like, sorry, please, it's just one life. I can't say because I want to save money, I should put this by force by fire inside my food. It takes a lot of understanding to be able to do this. Some people are like, well, what can I salvage? Can I steal a piece here or there? And then the thing is that it's going to spoil the taste of your food. You cannot get the original flavor anymore. It's not, once maggots start coming out like that, you can't get the original flavor anymore. So I would advise people that when you are buying, be very careful. A lot of those people, they actually use oil to romance the fish. Like they will use it very well with so that when you are buying, you think the fish is fresh. So touch it, like look at it very well. Have a trusted vendor that that you go to. Better still, buy in bulk and get someone to smoke for you. There are people that do these things. Buy the carton, get them to smoke it for you, smoke it dried. You just pay for the drying. There are people that do that for the people that sell the fish, that's rare fish. So do that instead of trusting all those roads because they want to make money. I don't blame them. It's like not blaming the thief that is hungry. You don't blame the thief that is hungry. You don't blame people. It's poverty. And if we get to solve the issue of poverty a lot in our community, sometimes don't let me go there. I feel that it will help us a lot. It will help us a lot. Hungry people are desperate people.
Can food stored in the fridge go bad, even when the fridge is
Yes, it does. It does, because originally the food you're buying, the integrity has been compromised before you put in the fridge. So the freezer does not kill bacteria. It doesn't kill it. It's just slowing down the process of deterioration. That's all it does. So
Max is thinking about his life right now.
So that's like what you're storing from the onset must be tipped. That's like for some vegetables, steam before you keep so that the microorganisms have been reduced, so your produce can even stay longer compared to when you store raw. That kind of thing.
All right, you're listening to Lagos Talks on Smooth 98.1. We're talking about food safety for the holidays and even beyond. Our special guest is Adeola Akanbi. And to you listening, have you ever been in a situation where you experienced some sort of unsafe food, or you felt like the safety in that particular restaurant or bar was compromised? What happened, and how did you resolve it? Did you just make a decision to walk away and never go back, or did you call their attention to it, or did you even try to involve the authorities? And what are some of the factors that you feel would affect the customers if they actually have to speak out about how they feel about certain foods that they have been giving in these establishments? Give us a ring or send us a message via WhatsApp. The WhatsApp number is 0809 440 981. You can also tweet at Smooth981. Let's go on to the phone lines. Good morning. Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right, Ibukun, go right ahead.
Yeah, very interesting talk you're having. I'd like her to speak more about how we can actually preserve cabbage, because I like cabbage a lot and I tend to eat it a lot and I buy it a lot. So how is the best way to preserve it? That's one. Two, with regard to eateries, and yes, I mean, you see a lot of things go wrong. I bought my wine from a place, I took it home. The next day I tried to warm it and it was like, it had people say they draw on top, and all sorts of things. I bought cake from a very popular cake place, and there was a fingernail inside the cake. So at times our quality control seems to be a bit lacking, but one has to be, I think it's important to give feedback and let them know that, look, this is what I bought and it's not right. In fact, I bought something else, a meat product like suya from a certain vendor. And I was quite impressed with the lady, because when I bought it, I said, look, this thing, I think it might have fallen on the floor or something, and it was tapped really tell it, but they have sand all over it. And she advised, apologized profusely, and gave me another package, saying, amassing, and without cost or anything, without me even asking. I just called to give her feedback. So I think a lot of people don't bother with reporting to them, because you don't get that quality of service. Unlike abroad, where if you find something like they're almost begging us, no, don't be annoyed, think about it, I think this, because they have a name to preserve. Here it's like, it's not our fault, it's free, it's never, that kind of thing. We don't really have the culture of taking responsibility and making the customer feel, good, like trying to preserve a reputation. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ibukun, for calling and sharing your thoughts. 0144899181. You can also send messages via WhatsApp 0809 440 981. A lot of cabbage lovers out there like Ibukun, and I'm also a cabbage lover, but I'm now worried that I have been eating possibly contaminated cabbage all this while.
No, it depends on how you prepare your cabbage. Is a preparation method. Now, the thing is that the best way to store cabbage is to keep it whole. Don't cut it up. I know some people go to Malams, and because they don't want to buy the whole one, they want to cut it up. You're inviting a lot of microbes on that place that is exposed. And the other ones are exposed as well. So keep it whole. The fresher it is with the grains, the better. Then to not store it in the fridge, if you know that you're always having constant power supply, you're good. Keep it in a plastic bag, put in the crisper, that's the vegetable side, that way we keep our vegetables on the normal day. I doubt people actually use that place because of light. But that particular place, that compartment that is for vegetables, keep it there. Then that is the best way to store cabbage. Now, for someone that you know that your light is not constant, you can consume your cabbage within it. If you leave it like for that whole week, but once you open the cabbage up, once you start cutting it up, know that if you can finish it within a day, 2 days tops, do that. Then also, when you now want to eat it, don't just put it on your food like that, because it's exposed already, especially. What you can do is that you take it, you boil water. That's why I do my own anyway. I steam it. I pour hot water on it with salt. I put water, then put boiled water on top of it. Get it out immediately. So it's in a sieve inside the bowl. Then the salt is on it. Then you pour water, get it out immediately, and then so that the crispiness is still maintained, but at the same time, what you can trust the integrity of what you are eating. For cabbage, but if the cabbage has not been cut up before, just like you open it up, then you cut it up, consume immediately, and after you have done that, keep in the fridge. Any the time that you finish it within that day or something like that. And then if it is the one that you preserve by steaming, put in a plate, maybe in a plastic container, then put in your freezer and then consume till you finish. Do you understand? So that's our best. Even for most of our vegetables, we have to ensure that every vegetable. That's how you see that a lot of people eat vegetables. They're always purging because of microbes. Then the fact that some people's system they don't eat fiber enough. So consuming a little fiber gets to them. That's another thing. So the more you eat fiber, the more it is that your system get used to it, and then you stop purging like that. Or usually is the preparation, the way it was prepared. So that's for cabbage.
All right, let's talk about the role of the regulatory bodies. Now, when we hear about NAFDAC, the first idea is, okay, they're trying to combat counterfeit products. They're trying to ensure that people are getting the right medication and things like that. But what about food safety? So if I walk into an eatery and just like Ibukun found a finger that is so gross, found a fingernail in his pastry or in his cake, right? And that obviously came from someone who was hand mixing dough, obviously. It's gross, but he's not alone. Omat has found a wrap of seasoning cubes in his food. And some people have seen hair in their foods. I've seen that, and it was a goodbye, heck no, I'm not paying for that. But apart from calling the attention of the establishment, how do you get these regulatory agencies to actually go out there, carry out some investigations, and ensure that the food that's actually being prepared and sold to the public is fit for consumption?
So the thing is that most Nigerians don't make formal complaints because they feel nothing will be done. And that's learned helplessness. So as in, like, you have learned to be helpless, like there's nothing I can do about this. So let me just mind my business and use my time for something else. But I think it's our responsibility as a people to always ensure that we do these things, because you are leaving gap for somebody else to get injured when you don't do that. The blood is on your hands. If it happens to be a child that has not developed enough immunity for these things, and then they get sick, and the parents may not even know that's a result of what they ate somewhere. So we know that, of course, we know money change hands in Nigeria, right? But you can never tell. You may meet somebody one day that will do the right thing by these people and ensure that the establishment is closed down. There has been establishments that have been closed down. There have been people that have won legal right. Like, I don't know if you heard of a case of somebody that wanted to export Coca-Cola, and in the US.
No brands.
Sorry, I won't say the story anymore. But it happens that when you learn to take up legal cases, like, you can never tell what will happen. You can never just tell what will happen. And then okay, like Standard Organization of Nigeria, the day that they decide to do their work, they actually do work. And the day that we take responsibility to make a formal complaint, they actually do their things. I remember when I was growing up, I don't know, this sanitation officer, they used to call them the woli woli. They used to go about to all those places, eateries, they would check the place they are making foods. Apart from these people used to do a lot of their work. I don't know what happened. Maybe the government official that is being paid just got complacent because felt that, what's my business? If I place the file before my boss, somebody knows somebody that knows somebody, and because they are the top brand, they will never do anything about it. But as a people, I would love that if, especially our lawyers, if you can decide to always just pursue these cases, especially for the unrepentant people, for the arrogant establishment, that they would never acknowledge their fault and they would never apologize for it and be like, as least we always say, you're just one customer in a lot of people that come into our establishment. I think that we should just take more, as a people, we should take more responsibility, regardless. You don't look at the other person's response. You do the right thing. You do the right thing. Yes.
You're listening to Lagos Talks on Smooth 98.1. We see the phone lines buzzing, but we'll take those phone calls and more messages on the other side. Stay with us.
Rain. Don't go anywhere.
What happens when witchcraft, infidelity, murder, and the local...
Oh, this is loud. It's all right. These slip-ups happen.
Don't beat yourself.
I just forgot.
You're fine, you're fine.
As one of the stories that got me excited when I heard about it.
Don't worry, it's okay. It's okay.
Wow.
We put out the fire before it starts.
Yeah, so it's no problem at all. Let me drink water.
We didn't mark this.
Sorry?
We didn't mark with, should we mark it, right?
Yes. Thank you. Oh, man. We will fly so high, let our spirits never die. In my, oh shit, we're streaming. Is this for the topic?
Look at this.
Oh, I saw this video.
Okay, so
I don't want to believe it's real.
what are you video?
No, I'm asking, it can't be real.
Because you don't do, you know what people go. That's why I told you. I say if the food on your table tells you the journey, what happened before it landed on your table when you eat in those eateries. You will not. You sometimes
It was a skit.
not skip now. I will make this is what it goes through.
Jeez,
Okay,
this
don't
is
worry.
gross now.
Sorry, let me not gross this thing out for you.
The video, but I didn't
No,
want to
that's
believe
just-
it was real.
That's how it's done.
Oh my days.
Lagos Talks 981 is still here, and we've got Adeola, Akanbi, public health nutritionist, helping us to get real safe in terms of the food consumption during this period and outside it. But so that takes us to one other suspect that has to do with palm oil and the production process. How not in just the small holder system where the palm nuts are gotten boiled and then people have to jump on it and stand on it with sweat. So how safe can we get with our palm oil? Looking at the process, how they produce, and even for those who like pounded foods from eateries and all of that, when we go to the backside and see how the pounding and the sweating that goes into that.
It's like exercise, really.
I remember there was one particular food eatery where I used to live. My sister used to love buying their food a lot. So there was a day that they mistakenly, maybe they opened the back gate and all that. She saw the environment. In fact, she didn't only stop buying from that particular place. She stopped buying from all of it. So I told her that even if you start from this particular brand, you don't know what happens at the back doors of others. And that's actually the responsibility of local health department, local government health department. They are the ones that are supposed to do impromptu visits to all those places. So for palm oil, So now we have technology that handles these things better. Now those brands are more expensive. The ones that they sell, like there's a particular popular brand, I know that they have a production line for it. So it's not just the local women that do it anymore. And it's actually good. It doesn't taste in your food. It's nice. But how many people can actually afford that compared? Because it's much more expensive than what you get in the general market. All we can say is public enlightenment. Most of those processes is what they have always known. Is what their fathers handed to them, their mothers handed to them. So that's how they've always done. It's not that as if somebody actually, like, there are more good people in this world than bad people. I would not actually intentionally set out to want to kill somebody else. It's just like, it's a matter of convenience. I'm trying to make money. This is my business. Government has a lot of responsibility in all of this. Then the media has a lot of responsibility as well. Always educating. Thank you for always doing things like this. Always educating the people. There are better ways to get this done. There are ways that you can do this, get the equipment. Then government again, look, our research institutes produce technologies that people can use. I work with a research institute and we do a lot of things, but these things just never make light of the day. Good things that if everyday people can get access to, as against importing, getting it on a platform from overseas, importing it to Nigeria, these things we can do if we are well funded. Now, I don't know who is listening to this call. Maybe you're a private person that has a lot of money. You can invest in all of this, and you can actually be solving regular problems for regular people to ensure that you make this thing, you produce it. I know that there are a lot of things hindering businesses in Nigeria, but however it is, you see, I'm still going back to government policies. Our policies, we need a lot of help. Look at major brands that they are closing out of Nigeria and they are getting their businesses out of Nigeria. It's power supply. It's killing. But so I still don't blame the people. I still don't blame them.
Still looking at that, let's go take a drive around Lagos and some of those foods we love a great deal. The akara, as it is called, the fried beans that's grounded and fried, we buy from the roadside. And small chops becomes a victim here because we see how it's done with their hands and will be thrown into oil. How can we get people to embrace a better way where you mustn't use your hands to do these things before you say, because the defense is always that, you know what, it's sweeter because this is how it's done with the hands. That's why you can get it that way.
There are actually equipment now that can help you do that thing the way you want it to be well-rounded and all that. But the problem is that people hardly want to change their ways. I say something that in Nigeria, the reason people continue doing the things they do because they will never be caught or sanctioned. If you know that once you are caught, what you pay is more than whatever it is they are making in a week, you will change your ways.
All right, let's go on to the phone line. We have a call coming through. Good morning. All right, Ibukun, go right ahead.
With regard to reporting to authorities, you must ask yourself, what are the channels that are open? Where's the enlightenment? Where's the awareness on the part of government that, if you have a complaint, you can come to this box? And I think the only government agency that has done that very well in Lagos State is the Lagos State Complaints, Consumer Protection Agency. They're very good, and they've done, from anything to do with whether you are buying a food or you are buying a mobile phone, anything to do with a consumer, they're very good in protecting. So if anybody has any issue with any food vendor and not being repentant, just go to their website, the Lagos State Consumer Protection Agency. They're fantastic. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ibukun, for calling and sharing your thoughts. Have you been a victim of shady food? Food that left you feeling worse off than you felt before you had it? Food that probably caused illness? What was your reaction? Did you let it go? Did you make an informed decision to talk about it and let people know? Or did you try to call their attention to it? Now, there have been cases of people who've spoken out against some of these establishments where they've falling short of the standards, and they've had backlash from other Nigerians who accuse them of trying to ruin people's businesses. So sometimes people are even scared to speak out publicly about things like this. Do we understand how important food safety is to every Nigerian? Adeola?
Okay, do we understand? We don't understand. We feel it's child's play. We don't understand that this thing accumulates and affects us in the long run. So if was speaking about the last caller, right? I was talking about the fact that Lagos State consumer, he knows about that because he was privy to that information. It's not everybody. On the average, if the percentage of the people that will know about this would be so limited compared to the people that know about it. The best thing that we can do as a people is that we should seek out information for ourselves. This thing is actually available. Like, we should learn not to keep quiet and learn to ask questions. We don't ask questions enough. I remember vividly when there was something that happened to me when I was 7, and my boss then knew because I used to work in an NGO. My boss then was like, you are keeping quiet, you are allowing it to persist because you are keeping quiet about it. That assuming that there are channels that I could have made a formal complaint and I would have gotten a particular result. But too often we mind our business. Like, let me just let it go, have things to do. I don't think I want to put my attention into this. How many people have access to want to Google and start looking for or to send a mail? Where are the offices that people can walk into and it's there and be like, yes, you can come to our office at a particular time and they will not keep you waiting for the longest period of time. We need to do better as a people because government, we are the government. I would not say, oh, government, the people that are in the offices are government. So we are the government. We should just learn to do our jobs. I don't know if government officials are listening right now. Let's learn to do our jobs. Let's learn to do our jobs. It is there. We have the policies. It's just implementation that is the problem. And the people themselves are not willing to make complaints.
All right, let's go on to WhatsApp. We have a few messages coming through. Dakmo sends a message and it comes with a video. He says their both video depicts the dangers as well as the risks people who eat outside may open themselves to. Please let us be very, very careful and wary, as well as avoid eating in unhygienic bukas or food joints. Now, this video is very graphic. Amas, do you want to describe this video?
That's so because, it's audio now. So when you tell them, so the video we're looking at right now is of someone pounding in a mortar with leg. The mortar is just in between the legs, and pounding, and then with their hands trying to roll it into a good bowl, and then coming down hard on it again. And then I believe sweat also helping to water it soft. Salty sweat.
Salt flavored pounded yam.
That's
Sweat flavored pounded yam. Okay, now this video, there are two ways to look at it. It could be that this is someone maybe preparing pounded yam in her household. Is this acceptable in your house where maybe you know the standards of hygiene, right? Although to be fair, the background doesn't look very clean. But if this is for personal consumption, are you allowed to handle food this way?
No, you shouldn't. Love starts from individuals, right? So if you cannot give that to yourself, of course, you cannot give it to somebody else. If you can do that to yourself, that means you do worse to someone else. So we should learn to treat ourselves right. As you're a human being, you don't deserve to eat such a food. You deserve to eat well. Get the diet, get the beautiful plate out, prepare your food well. You just eat and be walking around. Like, treat yourself right. I was in a community, not all those food that they hawk, right? That the fish inside the oil and all that. I was in a proper slum community, like proper slum community. Went to do an NGO program, outreach program, and I saw the lady, the whole environment. To walk there, to walk on the road. I was all like this. I was very cringy. Now imagine that food is being made there, and she's packing. She first of all fried the fish. Remove the fish, then fry the pepper, put it on the ground, then put it back inside, then pack it inside the bowl, and she'll put it on her head, and people are going to eat such a food. As far as I'm concerned, please do not eat street foods. It's better to buy probably something that can tie you over, like maybe, let's say, even the purple that they put inside nylon, the day I saw them cutting it up that was K2 market, and they were not rinsing now, just cutting, put inside the nylon, cut, put nylon, cut, and they were there on the tray. Everybody was talking. The hands were not wrapped in nylon, nothing was happening, and then that's what they will hug, and they said, Papa, give me one papa, and then you will not even bother to rinse it before you put it in your mouth. Please, as much as possible. Okay, you can buy the papa, rinse it. We know that once you rinse, basically, you are good. Clean water, buy water, clean it, eat it. But that you are going and you're buying these things, you don't know where the food is being prepared. You don't know, these communities don't have waters. Most of the food, most of those fish that we consume on the street, the communities where they come from are not hygienic.
Adeola, I have to ask this. At what point is food most likely to be contaminated? Is it during the buying? Is it during the preparation and the handling? Or is it during the storage?
It's throughout. Let me use production line now as a food scientist. It's throughout, like from the buying, from the preparation, how it's been prepared, what was mixed with it. You can imagine on a normal day, rice shouldn't be contaminated. Like rice, as we know, rice on a normal day, unless you keep your rice more than, let's say, more than an hour. Once it's left left like that on the stove for more than an hour, you should keep your food in the cooler. Don't go to your food after it's cooled down. If you're going to eat after it's cooled down, warm your food, microwave your food, and eat it. Once it's cooled down, that's the safest way you can handle it. It's throughout the production line, like from the buying to the cleaning, the storage, however it is they are doing, it's throughout. And it starts from, I spoke about the fact that how the preparation started. If already you can see molds all over your food and you still decided to boil it like that, know that the molds are still inside.
All right, we'll continue this conversation and wrap it up on the other side. This is Lagos Talks on Smooth 98.1. Stay with us. Wait, so leaving rice out for an hour, the rice gets contaminated. We for that diet thing too.
No, but again, Adeola, see, for me, I think I don't like foods being excessively hot before I take them. So most times I am that kind of person who, if the food is cold, I just believe, even if the food is and it's warmed, it will definitely get cool in the stomach and I want it. So why wouldn't I just as well eat the food because it will still be cold in my stomach?
It has gone in already. So your stomach has already started the digestive process. It has met enzymes, it has met acid, hydrochloric acid in your stomach. So whatever that is acting on it has to do with what is convenient, what is good for your body. It's not something coming from there. You know what gets us sick? It's external things that get us sick. Our body has a system, as you are. There are people that they fall ill when they get to too clean environment.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, we're coming back on. You're listening to Lagos Talks on Smooth 98.1. We're talking about food safety for the holidays and beyond. Our special guest is Adeola Akanbi. And we have a few minutes to go with regards to the conversation. Have you been a victim? Did you speak up? Did you face any backlash? Did you let them know what's up? Like, look, you can do better. What was the situation? Did you even try to get compensation? Did you go legal?
All right, so let's quickly get this one in, and it's a popular opinion and question going across because you're here. What's the life cycle of groundnut oil from going from frying plantain to ending up as in your stew pot?
You want us to go there? Okay, so the thing is that frying oil excessively is not good. We all know this. I know that we have heard it. And if you have used your oil already to fry fish or fried chicken, let it go.
It should have taste to this. It should have taste to this.
Because already frying breaks down the chains of your oil, attracting free radicals. Free radicals, that just permits me to go a little bit scientific. So what happens that free radicals comes into the body. They are the things that latch onto the cells and cause abnormal growth and likely to lead to cancer. So now when you have such oil that you have done that to, that is exposed to oil, that's oxidation process to the atmosphere, and you actually the one that is annoying is the one that when you fry, you keep there, then you come back 2 days later, use the same oil to fry plantain, use the same oil to you are adding more problems, more issues to your health. The best thing you can do, okay, fine. Let's say the oil is just to maybe fry your chicken lightly, use it to make the soup immediately, and then finish consuming that soup that day. Don't keep soups for days and keep warming on your soup.
Okay, but we can keep them in the freezer, right?
The best practice, even in the fridge, it continues. The best thing you can do for your stew is that boil your pepper dry. Keep it in the fridge. So the pepper is already cooked. So by the time you're ready to make stew, get the oil, put in your pot, then make the stew. Consume it. Then if you need another bowl, bring it out, make it fresh every single time. It's much better than even making the stew and storing up. It's healthier. But if you now want, you can portion and keep in your freezer, take it out, consume immediately. Not that you want meat. Some people, the little that remains, they will not ever let it go. They will still keep that little, that's one small bowl, and put in their fridge. They will never.
All right, so this is the holiday season. A lot of people will be visiting family and friends. Some of them will go out to eat in public places. Some of them would eat at the homes of these families and friends. Is this a season where people need to be particularly careful? And just to wrap up, what advice can you give for people to stay safe?
The advice I can give is that, see, number one, we don't have doctors enough in Nigeria anymore. So the rate at which you can get sick, you have to, plus, we believe in God a lot, right? If God is watching over you, watch over yourself too. Whatever you can use to help yourself in this season. As much as possible, avoid eating outside. As in, that's in outside, like people want to maximize profit. Outside that, I mean, not with your family and friends and all that. Then you can educate your family and friends and be like, do you know, I learned that when I was listening to the radio, that we should keep our meat products and poultry away from other food items, that we should not use the same cutting board. The same cutting board you used to cut chicken, the one you used to cut vegetable. Please don't do that. Then when you are done with your cutting board, use warm soapy water to wash the surfaces and your things. You need to keep safe for your health, for your children, and for the elderly, especially for children and the elderly. You have to be very careful. All those things accumulate in the body. You may not know immediately. It's a repercussion for later. The contaminated food, the bad water, it's later the body will revolt. And It's better so that your old age, you're not nursing one ailment or the other. Take care of yourself. Please take care of yourself.
All right, let's take final messages. This is from Oluwaseun. Oluwaseun says there was a case of a popular paste brand who used the police and others against a lady that did a review on their product. Where else do we go? Because the agency in charge isn't doing their job well. You just have to look out for yourself then and hope that these agencies actually swing into action. This is why we have reps. So write to your reps, get them to act. Chimezie says, I live alone and I work so much that I don't have time to cook my food. I eat out most times, but I make sure it's a clean place. And he also says, I had Omatseye say God under his breath. My brother, easy. I don't know how we can be 100% safe in this food thing. All right. Well, that's all the time for Lagos Talks. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for your calls, your messages, and special thanks to our guest this morning, Adeola Akanbi, public health nutritionist. I just love how you made this subject that is heavy so fun and entertaining. But yeah, we're still able to learn a lot about this whole food safety thing in the process as well.
Thank you for having me.
And that is it for Lagos Talk. Stay with us.